Way to go, Smoker Voice. I learned something a few years ago that is more true now than ever. Fight me all you want, but I feel pretty comfortable with this. Politicians, I'm going to go here. Politicians don't offer economic plans to benefit you. They don't. They don't offer economic plans for any reason other than to appease, and this will be the second time that I'm going to say this, or this will be the first of 2 times that I'll say this. I'm not sorry if this offends you. I'm not, okay? I really don't know why. I would like people to be more offended. I think you should be really offended, but I don't think anybody pays attention. I really think we're this clueless. So that is the setup. Politicians don't offer economic plans for any reason other than to appease butt-kissing voters, and that's what we've become. I said butt-kissing. Say it any way you want. Okay, we as a voting public obviously have no clue about fundamental economics. And nor do we seem to care to have a clue about fundamental economics. In other words, we're not even going to make the attempt to even know fundamental economics. No work effort whatsoever goes into understanding fundamental economics. We don't seem to care. We're not even going to try. I'm a militant market forces person. I know market forces can be painful. It can be a bloody nose. But you know what? It's better than the alternative. What's the better plan, everyone? So politicians, as a takeaway here, politicians don't believe in market forces. By nature, they don't have to believe in anything. They just want to get their job and keep their job. Otherwise, they don't care because we don't make them. They don't believe in market forces. They don't offer market forces. They only care about votes. And sadly, it works. It seems to be working really well. A few examples. I heard this on display a few years ago, and I would hear people, this is sort of the beginning of the Donald Trump time. And this is, everyone, I think, should have to listen to this. This is the beginning of the Trump time. Trump, I don't know that much about Donald Trump, admittedly. I really didn't. And so, kept hearing from people how he's a businessman. And, this is about free enterprise and blah, 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 which I thought, okay, cool. Really? It's about free enterprise? And then I would hear him offering up these economic policies, and it was about tariffs. And so I heard it over and over and over again. I would say, well, wait a second, everyone. That's not about market forces at all. Tariffs are taxes. And I would say to people, wait a second, what he's offering here is not that different than Bernie Sanders tooling around middle America promising something to some union group. He's doing the same stuff. And I would argue, and I would argue, and I would argue with people over and over again. I said, well, what are you talking about? These tariffs are taxes. And then I brought up the examples of how many other presidents would try these sort of tariff concepts. Bringing up Barack Obama. You know what the response was? Why don't you just die, Ward? Wait, are you disagreeing with me? No, die. Oh, can we disagree? No, die. Oh, okay. So I started to realize, you don't care. You don't care about fundamental economics. You don't care. You want to find a team, get there, and hate everyone else. I heard it on display. I heard all of our ignorance. Economic ignorance. And yes, it's true. They don't have to offer us real economic policy because we don't seem to care. So it really stuck with me. I use that as a backdrop to show you, for full disclosure and fairness, the other side does the exact same thing. In fact, it's incredibly damaging, and no one seems to care. Really, you don't care. That coal miner's job is not coming back. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's going up against market forces. It's a lie. And you didn't care then. And now another group of people are being lied to directly to their face. In fact, even worse, they're going to lose their jobs. It's a lie. But what's amazing is you can't tell people otherwise. You can't make a sensible argument out of just fundamental economics. So here we go. How can anyone, like just the backdrop here, how can anyone other than fast food restaurant owners and maybe shareholders, I guess, if they're publicly traded. But how can anyone not be in favor of raising the pay of fast food workers? What kind of jackass would push against that, right? It feels good to say you really need to cross-the-board raises for fast food workers. It feels good, doesn't it? It sounds like it's the right thing to do, doesn't it? Okay. Politicians suck. I wish more people believed it. I wish we lived by that mantra. They suck. And why the voting public doesn't seem to understand the fundamentals of this, and we don't care, I guess, which is worse, is pretty disturbing. Because it's playing itself out. The exact same butt-kissing, myopic, fake economic policies, damaging, if they're implemented, economic policies that anybody else tries, Donald Trump included. They're not free enterprise people at all. In fact, it's counter free enterprise. Is being trotted out again in a different kind of way, the exact same storyline all over again. This one just happens to have a person with their D next to their name. So, we vote on one thing, in my opinion. I think it's pretty obvious now. And I think the economics of the garbage economic policies that are trotted out today, if there are any, and there's not many, it really does show us all that we vote on one thing, and that's hate. If you prefer, I'll do this, just to be somewhat nicer, I'll say dislike, but it's really more hate. That's it. I just want to hate someone else. That's it. And stuff like that is what allows garbage like this to happen, and people are going to lose their job. Here's an example, okay? Both sides, got it? Both sides. It's the same pandering, the same dangerous pandering. So I'm going all in. You can disagree all you want. Feel free to do it. I'm game for it anytime, any place. So have at it. At Jeff Ward Show on Twitter. Okay. One, don't put your head down yet. One, value is what somebody's willing to pay. Hate it all you want, but okay, dance around it all you want. But value is what somebody's willing to pay. Okay. Number two, this is a starting point. I wish we could all sort of digest this. All costs are passed along. All costs are passed along. So now that we can have our eyes glaze over, okay, I want you to do this. And if you want to put your head down, I understand. I don't know the fast food business very well. I really don't. But I'll assume the prices of fast food goods, the cheeseburgers and the milkshakes, the prices are largely... They're going to scream. I know. I don't know what else to do. At least it's not a periodic table. The prices are largely perfectly elastic. Yes, it's a term. Okay? In other words, if you go to page 84 or the PowerPoint presentation in class, you'll notice that any small change in prices results in a very large change in quantity demand. Got it? In other words, it's sort of counterintuitive, right? But it's perfectly elastic. These prices can't change much. Your milkshake cannot change much. The cheeseburger cannot change much. Oh, you can try. That's market forces. You can try. But I suspect they figured out in that business, you really can't try and it won't move much. Because there's a bunch of competition and cheeseburgers are cheeseburgers. So, all right. That's like commodities. That's how commodities operate. Just in general. Now, where am I going with this very boring thing? Yes, I really said perfectly elastic. I did. I want to point out that modern politics doesn't care about economic realities because we don't seem to understand the economic realities, which is pretty tough when it comes to something as simple as fast food commodities. If you force the increase in prices, something has to give. It sucks if what has to give is us, but the governor of California just cost a lot of these people their jobs. And I'm not going to say he doesn't care. It doesn't matter. He needs to get some votes. I suspect he was looking for a different office than governor of California. It's no different than what Trump preaches or anybody else for that matter. They're going to pander to the butt kissers to the point that the butt kissers are punished. The coal miners are punished because they believe the garbage. The union people standing in the assembly lines for auto manufacturers are punished because they believe the garbage, and now a bunch of fast food workers are going to be punished because they're going to believe the garbage. It's going to cost them their job. Because no politician has the guts or the morality to just say the truth about fundamental economics. They are gutless, and we've allowed them to be gutless to the point that it's dangerous. Here's a prime example. These people in the fast food industry that are cheering today, they're going to lose their jobs. Then what? Challenge me all you want on it. Let's take a look at what happens in 3 years. So don't worry. Now, if you think, oh, you suck, Ward, you're picking on a Democrat, don't worry. A Republican will do the same kind of garbage, mean-spirited, horrific thing as well, and we'll believe it. It'll just be a different demographic. That's all it is. These are not economic policies. These are demographic strategies that when people believe them, there's real damage. Did I miss something? How's everything going in Kentucky? Going pretty well? Yeah? Okay. Same thing's going to happen here. Associated Press reports a new law in California will raise the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20. When it takes effect, fast food workers in California will have the highest guaranteed base salary in the industry. The state's minimum wage for all other workers is $15.50 per hour. Make sense of that on any level, why it is a fast food worker would make more than anyone else in minimum wage. And look, I'm not picking on you. I'm saying you're getting screwed and lied to, and it happens all the time. And it's sort of couched in this idea of, I care about you. They're liars, and we let them lie. It's just the problem is there's real economic consequence here. These people are going to get screwed. That coal miner that believed that trash from anybody with an R next to their name, they got screwed. Because they wanted to hear it, of course. Same thing here. This guy hosts a news conference with people cheering and cheering and cheering, never once even considering, you're going to be replaced by a kiosk. Gavin Newsom signed the law. Newsom dismissed the popular view that fast food jobs are meant for teenagers to have their first experience in the workforce. He says, quote, "That's a romanticized version of a world that doesn't exist. We have the opportunity to reward that contribution, reward that sacrifice, and stabilize an industry." End quote. You're doing just the opposite. You are fast-tracking. Remember what I said about the realities. Value is what somebody's willing to pay, and all costs are passed along. Go ahead. Tell me there's another way. He's not stabilizing the industry. Well, yeah, he will. He'll stabilize it. Not for them. He's fast-tracking their exit. Now, why would he do it? What do you mean, why would he do it? The guy's got to find organized labor unions. That's why. You know exactly why. The same reason why Trump will kiss some ass at a factory. It's a lie. It's all a lie. It's an economic lie. It doesn't work that way for any of us in any industry. He's promoting almost an immediate disruption. It's not stabilizing to increase $5 per person per job. That's not stabilizing. Remember, perfectly elastic. Let me ask you, how much more can you charge for that cheeseburger on a heat lamp? How much? You think you can charge $6 more? The stupid thing costs $3 now. Perfectly elastic is a fast track to these people being shoved over a cliff. And they're cheering today. And anybody would. Sounds good. It feels good. Any one of us would want to hear the same thing. So, value is what someone's willing to pay, okay? Sorry it's that way. I'm sorry for a cheeseburger that doesn't take a lot of expertise to sit on your lap. Value is what somebody's willing to pay because you can only charge a certain amount for that cheeseburger. So who's falling for this? And it's really about organized labor unions. That's all. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know why people don't think politicians suck, especially at times like this. So here's a question for everyone. Here's the way to look at it. Okay? There's a perfectly reasonable and fair way to look at this. Well, what's the alternative, Jeff? What do you mean? The alternative is that market forces are going to dictate these prices for people and burgers. What do you mean, what else is the alternative? There is no alternative. you micromanage it, and you arbitrarily raise the cost of every single person by $5, you're going to fast track that kiosk taking their place if it's not already. So question, will more or less people employed in the fast food sector, will there be more or less people employed in the fast food sector in 3 years? More or less. Now, I'm not saying, I'm sure he wouldn't want them to lose their jobs. He doesn't care. He can't. All that matters in front of a politician is just get the vote. Demographics. So will more or less people be employed in fast food in 3 years? If it's less, would you cheer and say this is a good idea?